Hello and welcome to That Football Podcast, your weekly dose of everything football. I'm here with Sammy Barry, professional player of Gimnasia de Jujuy. Sammy, how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling good. It's good to be here. It's good to support Australian podcasters. I think this is a nice way to end the day.
Thank you for joining us. Sammy, what got you into football?
Well, from a young age, my dad got me into football. He supported football all his life, Manchester United. And I was always a very sporty kid, very athletic. So football was the only choice for me. I did try some other sports, tennis, swimming, a few others, but football was always going to be football at the end of the day.
So, just like a lot of people, it was the parental side that got you straight into football. Manchester United.
Yes, my dad and my brother, he was 4 years older than me, and he played football when he was younger, so I sort of just followed him.
And so, your first club, where was that?
Well, I did some casual football, just as you do, playing in your garden with family, friends, and then my dad said, let's take you to an actual club. So my first club was Western Knights. They're currently in the MPL in Western Australia. I played in there in my first age group was under sevens. I played there for a few years. Then I went to Subiaco, played there for a few years. And then from under 12s up until MPL first team, I went to Perth Glory.
What made you make the move to go to Perth Glory?
Because Perth Glory, the only professional club in WA, I thought that was going to be the best for development, and the best players did go there, still are there, a few good players. So for me, it was a no-brainer to try and join Glory. I trialled in under 12s, and once I got in, you just fight every year to stay in, and I didn't think of leaving to go to another club because the training just wouldn't have been the same.
So basically, you always had that ambition straight from the start, straight from the get-go when you were young, that you wanted to be the best, that you wanted to be in the best club, with the best facilities, with the best coaches, and you just always want to be better than the rest of the other people.
Yeah, I do have this mindset, and it's taken me quite far, so it's done me well. So I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh, I was nice, I was humble. Maybe sometimes I wasn't, but I did have that belief, and I think you need to make it because it's so competitive, and if you don't believe you're better than other players, then you're not going to make it.
So with Glory, obviously the only professional club in WA, you would have played a lot of tournaments. So what was your first tournament? Do you remember your first tournament?
My first tournament was Coffs Harbour, an international tournament versus other academy and state teams. That was in 2019. We finished second. I captained the Perth Glory team that year, and that was my first proper tournament, national tournament. And yeah, I haven't had too many. I didn't have any other ones after that, so only that really. Yeah.
How did your youth at Glory kind of look? Season to season, were you guys competing for the title? Were you winning trophies? How did it look?
The first year we won the league, but because in Glory we play a year up, when you're younger that makes a big difference. So between 14s, 15s, we struggled a bit more, and then as soon as we hit 18s and 20s again, we just dominated. We won the double in 18s, and in the 20s we won the treble. There was no competition at all really. And then when you hit the first team, then the experience of the other clubs sort of outweighs the youth, and we struggled a bit, but it was a very, very good experience, very good for development.
Do you know why that is that you guys play a year up? Is it down to the fundamentals of Perth Glory as a club, or is it just coaches?
Well, simply just if we played in our age group, it would be too easy. I mean, if our team played a year down from what we did, there wouldn't be much competition. So it was kind of needed to still develop and have competitive games every week.
So obviously you were at Glory from very young age, 12, 13, all the way to like 18,
18.
even played first team NPL.
Yeah.
You would have played with a lot of good prospects at Glory. Some of them might have even gone on to play with the first team. Can you name a few?
Yeah, I played with a lot of very good players at Glory. Standouts probably Daniel Benny, he's playing for QPR in the championship at the moment. Jalen, he's playing every week. He scored a few goals for the A-League this season, his breakout season, and a few others. But I'd say that those two would be the main people I played with that have got first.
So what was the environment around Glory? Was it like toxic environment? Was it like a winning environment? The coaches, they wanted to win every single week. Was it like based on fun? What was the environment?
Depends on the year, depends on the coach. Some coaches were very strict, serious, especially from 18s onwards. So it was a bit of a toxic environment. A lot of competition for spots, movement in between age groups. But I think all academies are like that. It wasn't just Glory. I think all academies around the world, from what I've seen, are like that. So it was no different. But it definitely was. I wouldn't say toxic, but it was healthy competition.
Facilities, coaches, what was it like at Glory?
The facilities weren't great. We never really had our own facilities. We were always borrowing either another club's pitch or a school's pitch where they train. So the facilities and investment into the club was pretty much non-existent, to be honest. The coaches, I had a few good coaches. Quite a few bad coaches. But again, it's Australia, it's small for football, so I didn't really expect to be having the best coaches, the best facilities, even though it was the only professional club in the state.
It's pretty bad coming from the only professional club in the state to constantly be borrowing pitches, borrowing equipment, not having their own things. It's pretty bad. Definitely need more investment into that club, would you say?
For sure. There was a bad over there for a good few years. I think now it's a bit better, but yeah, it was a bit of a shambles really.
So obviously you went to Salernitana youth, but before that, what would you say is your best memory at Perth Glory?
My best memory is probably in under 20s, in 2023 when we won the treble. We won the league, top 4 cup, and the cup. So we were pretty dominant. We won almost every week. So that was probably the most enjoyable period at Glory for me.
So yes, you did go on to Salernitana and join their Primavera under 19 side. Can you please tell us how did you get that opportunity?
Well, originally I signed for a 3rd division side in Argentina, thanks to my agent. But a few opportunities came up in Italy, so I said, yeah, I want to go just before I go to Argentina and let's see what happens. So I went to Italy, I went to a few clubs, including the likes of Sampdoria, and then an opportunity just before I was about to go back to Australia for Christmas. An opportunity came up to train with 1st division of like a 4th tier side, but they had scouts from Salernitana there, and only trained once with them. And then a few days later, I signed for their Primavera side, and I was no longer going to Argentina, so it was a bit of a shock. I was only meant to go to Italy for a week, and I ended up staying there for nearly 3.5 months.
Things happen pretty fast, Going to Argentina, then 1 week passes by and then you go to Italy.
Yeah, yes. The last few months have been a roller coaster for sure. They've been so much uncertainty. It's been difficult, but I'm settling down now, so I'm happy.
It's good. So, what was the language barrier like? Communicating with people, coaches, teammates. Obviously, you didn't speak Italian fluently. What was it like?
Yeah, the language barrier was difficult. Not too many Italians spoke English, but just enough to get by. They spoke the basics. I had a few lessons, maybe 2 lessons a week with the club, but I didn't learn too much. I didn't pick up too much. As I said, I was only there for 3 months, so the language barrier was difficult. In terms of the tactics, the coach would try getting a player who spoke English. He would translate it to me for the important stuff. But other than that, I had no idea what the coach was saying, the tactics. I had no idea. It was difficult, but there were a few other boys in the same circumstance at Salernitana, so it wasn't only me.
So, did Salernitana in any way try to help you understand what the coach was trying to say? Was maybe getting a player in the team maybe who spoke a little bit of English to translate, try to help you? Did anything like that? Any support?
Yeah, there were a few players that spoke English and obviously Italian, so the coach would tell them to translate it to me. But I think a lot of it got lost during that translation. I only got the basic information the coach wanted. But I got by. I think it was very tactical in Italy, so we did tactics every game. So even though I didn't understand the language, I got used to the way the players were moving, and I picked it up pretty easily towards the end.
It's good to hear. What would you say? The league over there, Primavera, CB, obviously. What's the competition like? Other players?
Yeah, it's quite very competitive. There are some unbelievable players. We played Napoli. We lost narrowly 2-1 to them. So, I mean, playing the Napoli reserve effectively. There are some unbelievable players. So the league was competitive. We were also competitive. We were a good team. We had a few younger boys who did play Serie B a few games, and one played Serie A. So we had a good group.
Unfortunately, Salernitana did go down from the Serie A in 2024. So that's why the season they're in Serie B. Would you say, well, obviously you're not involved much with the first team, but what you see at the club, do you think they have the facilities to go back up again to the Serie A?
I think it'll take a season or two, but I think they're the biggest club in Serie B. They get 25,000 people to every home game. So that's by far the biggest in the league, I think. So in terms of the club facilities as well were very good, especially the first team. So they've got a huge fan base, facilities. So a big potential to go back up for sure in the next few years. This year, they're struggling a bit. At this moment, they can still go down to Serie C, which would be a disaster for the club. But I think they'll get back up eventually.
I am to believe that you met another Australian at Salernitana, Aiden Rustic, midfielder of Salernitana. Did you have much conversation with him? Did you speak to him? What was it like?
I did. The first few times I trained with the first team, he was one of the only ones that spoke English, and obviously being two Australians in Italy, we're obviously going to start talking to each other. But he treated me well. He took me under his wing. So I've got nothing bad to say about him. He's had a difficult time this season, not much playing time, but I've got good memories with him, a few good training sessions. He's probably one of the best players in the club, I think. He played against Messi in the 2022 World Cup. He's placed the Socceroos, so I've got huge respect and admiration for the guy.
Unbelievable experience. How is it different to Glory?
Where do you start? The structure, the funding, the players, the coaches, the intensity, the tactical side of the game, the passion. It's just 10 levels above. You can't compare it.
Is that the main reason why Australian football will take a long time, or may never even get to the level that Italian football is at?
No, I don't think we'll ever get to Italian level. I think that's why so many players like myself, rush to get out of Australia because it's just so much better everywhere else but Australia, really.
And how was the style of play in the Italian leagues? Compare it to Australia.
Italy is very tactical, very defensive. You watch the games, they're never really exciting, they're not end to end, there's not many goals, it always seems to be 1-0, 1-1. So it's very defensive, very tactical, which didn't really suit me because I like to try to express myself on the ball, which is why I didn't really enjoy it there as much as I would have liked to. But it's an unbelievable league. It's one of the best. Italy Serie A is one of the best leagues in the world. So
I'm pretty sure no one can complain with that. Definitely top 5 leagues. So obviously you left to go to Argentina to join a new club. What were the circumstances behind the choice of leaving?
yeah, it was a pretty unbelievable decision. It was so out of the blue. After a few months, around the end of February, I was talking to my agent and the possibility to go to Argentina to a higher club than the one I was originally going to go to in the 3rd division. This one was in the 2nd division. Came up, and at the time, I wasn't struggling, but I didn't enjoy it in Italy. We were playing with wing backs. I'm a winger, and most of the time I was just defending, so I didn't really enjoy it that much. So the opportunity to go over to Argentina and potentially play with the first team, I didn't want to miss out on it. So we actually asked the club to leave, but as expected, they said no. While they let me leave, I was starting every week. I was a big player for them, so they didn't let me leave. So we sort of got up and we just left Argentina. After a game, I texted the director, I texted the coach saying, I'm leaving, not sure if I'm coming back. And I hopped on a flight to Buenos Aires.
Pretty extreme circumstance.
Yeah.
So I am to believe that in the time period of you leaving to Salernitana and then joining this Argentine club, that you were contacted by the Irish FA.
Yeah, that did come up. It was, I think, around late February. They contacted my agent, and we're still in talks at the moment. But I think if I start playing consistently first team here, that's definitely a potential reality. I would rather play for Australia, but if Australia don't come calling, then I'll happily play for Ireland for sure.
How absolutely ironic can you believe that? Australia, Ireland are reaching out before Australia. And, Ireland are obviously a much better nation than Australia. And, born in Australia, experienced in Australia, everyone knows you. You've played for the best professional team in WA and not a single contact at all.
No, and it's not only me. I know a lot of really good players. One of my friends, James Overy, he's in the Manchester United Academy, and he had to choose Scotland because Australia didn't even call him. He's playing for the Manchester United Academy. So I don't want to say it's politics, but there's definitely something with the Australian setup that just makes it really difficult for the players.
So moving on now, you've left Salernitana, you've gone to Argentina. What was it like? What first happened?
I landed in Buenos Aires, then I got on a flight up north to Santiago, about a 2-hour flight from Buenos Aires, and I trained with the club I'm at now for about a week. But then the opportunity to go to Buenos Aires to train with a few first division clubs arrived. So I then took a flight to Buenos Aires and I trained with the reserves of likes of Deportivo Riesta in the first division. However, it was only their reserves, whereas the team in the second division, it was with the first team. And I just really want to play first team. I'm over playing the academy or the reserves. So it was a no-brainer for me to come back up north, but it was a whirlwind of a few weeks there in between leaving Italy, coming to Buenos Aires, coming up north, going back to Buenos Aires, and then finally now settling down back up north. There were some uncertain times, some times where I questioned why I left Italy, but I think it's worked out for the best now.
And all this time, you've been by yourself. No family, just you. How can you manage that?
Yeah, it's been difficult. I haven't seen any of my family for maybe nearly 6 months now. I left after my final school exam in the middle of November. I was only meant to go to Italy for a week. I ended up obviously signing for Salernitana, staying there for a few months, then heading over to Argentina now. So I didn't get to say goodbye to my dad. My mum only thought I was going for a week, so I didn't really say goodbye to her, my brother, or any of my friends. I didn't even tell them until I was at the airport. So yeah, it's been difficult for sure, especially in Italy. But now I'm living in Argentina with a few other Australians. It's a bit easier.
So, football better, Argentina, Australia, or Italy?
Australia. No. I think at the top level of Italy would be the best, but for what I've played in, and for me at the moment, Argentina is the best for the development. Italy is very tactical, very defensive. Argentina is a lot more physical. The trainings are a lot more focused on power development rather than the tactical side of the game as much. So for me now, Argentina is the best.
How are you settling into football?
I'm liking it. It's not as busy as Buenos Aires. Not as many people, not as much traffic, but the people are a lot nicer here. Everyone's welcomed me. The club's welcomed me. Local families. We've already made a lot of close friends in Jujuy, so I'm enjoying it, and I want to finally settle down here after a turbulent few months.
So when are we expecting your professional debut?
Well, there's a few contract issues at the moment, because obviously I just left Italy out of the blue, but I think it should be in the next few months. Hopefully I'll make my debut, which will be an unbelievable moment for me, and everyone who's stuck it out with me. It's been difficult, but hopefully the next few months, I'm looking forward to it. It's competitive. Obviously, you're competing against people with families, people who've done this for a living for a while now, professional football. So it'll be difficult, but I think I'll break through soon.
Objective for this year?
Objective, make my debut. Simple.
Debut. How many appearances do you think?
To be honest, I'd be happy with one. I just want to make my debut. That's all I care about. That's my main goal in my mind. I'm fully focused on that. I'm not thinking about after that. After I make my debut, we'll think next goal. But for me at the moment, all I can think about is just playing that first game. Dreams
of every child making their professional debut. You're on the edge of making your professional debut and moving forwards. Obviously, you might not say anything, but next few years, what is your trajectory?
Well, I want to stay here for a season or two. Obviously, to make my debut, then play a few matches, and then after that, eventually, the goal is to eventually move back to Europe, because obviously for the money and overall the standard of football in the lot higher leagues of Europe is better. But I just want to enjoy my time in South America. It's a unique experience that not many footballers, especially from Australia, they never get to experience it, and plays in Europe. So I just want to enjoy my time here for a few years, develop, make my debut, play some first team football, and then after that we'll start thinking, okay, I need to make some money, let's go to Europe, and we'll see what happens from there.
Sammy, thank you for joining us on the podcast today.
No problem, thanks for having me.